Okay, let's start the JavaScript. So today will be an interesting session because, like, if you have not uh, done JavaScript before, then you will actually learn how JavaScript actually works, and then you will have a different point of view towards JavaScript, like how it actually renders or how it actually like why this particular programming language is only used to build web develop applications, right? Like for the main front end, we talk about like why not any other language any other language than JavaScript, like C++, Java. There are so many languages, Python. Why they are not actually used to build applications? Actually they are used to build applications, but not actually in the front end part, right? So the basic uh, front end, every website has a front end, and they are built using this JavaScript libraries and JavaScript only. So why is this particular JavaScript is chosen for that particular language? Okay, so we will going to learn that, and we will learn start some syntax of JavaScript also. So let's start. This will be the content for why. So today will be a like basic of programming languages, and then we will just learn how JS works. Okay, anybody came till now? No. Okay, let's start. Is my voice clear, right? My voice is clear. Okay. Okay, so we are going to start from very basics, actually learning how things actually work, how applications actually work in the our computers. So this is your computer here right now, and this consists of two things in your laptop, in your computers. The computer consists of two things. There are so many things, but here, like, we are talking about only those two things. First is the RAM, and second is the SSD or HDD. Okay? RAM stands for random access memory, and SDD and HDD stands for like the storage part of that particular computer. Okay? So all the applications, whether it's any game, video player, or other applications, whether it's VS Code or like any other application, they all they all are in this particular storage, right? They all are in this particular the hard drive or the like HDD SSD in a laptop set. Okay? But when we run these particular applications, when we double click on this particular application, then it start running, right? So as soon as we double click on this particular application, it goes into this RAM particular random access memory. Okay? They resides in the HDD until until at that time, like until when it is not running till that time only. But as soon as we start running that application by the either we are playing game. So when we do the double click, so that particular application start running, and it starts and it goes into the random access memory. So basically random access memory is responsible for starting our like responsible for the starting of our application. Okay? So they resides in the SSD, but RAM access, as soon as we start, they come into this RAM access memory. Okay? So now what actually happens? We all know that our computer understands, like from very start of the our computer science education. We Yeah. Okay. Like from the very starting, we knew that my computer understands only zeros and one, right? So our RAM understands only zeros and one. Okay. But these applications are built in programming languages, uh, like Python, like C++, like Java. Okay. So all these are made in programming languages. Okay. But our laptop or the RAM of that particular thing only understands the binary code, which is known as the 0 as 1. Why? Because, like, I will not go deep in this, but because how things actually work is that this switch, that these works as a switch. 0 and 1 works as a switch, the on off, on or off, on or off. Okay? So but all these applications are written in the programming languages. Okay? So how they are converted into these zeros and one? Here comes the role of a compiler. So here comes the role of a compiler. What compiler do is that whenever we run this particular application currently resides in this particular storage. Okay? As soon as we double click on this particular application, it start running. It will go into this RAM, random access memory, and it that particular application is being converted into zeros and one, and then this particular random access memory can run this particular application. Okay, so this is how like actually ram understands ki what is this application, how to run this, all these things. Okay, so like how this is done using the compilers. So every programming language has their own compiler, right, which are responsible for converting our programming languages code, the programming languages we are using. So uh, they are in the like they have a understandable English language, so that any other person can like look at your code if they know the syntax, that they are in the understandable English language. Okay, all the programming languages, but a RAM only understands the zeros and one, and it all the applications got compiled. No has a compiler which will compile these particular programming languages into zeros and one. Okay, so this is your particular game. We use a compiler. This particular game can be in any language, whether it's C++, whether it's Java, whether it's JS, Python. Okay, it can be any application. Okay, so this particular compiler will run this game. Okay, and what it will do, it will convert this particular game into zeros and one, so that our random access memory can understand that particular application. Okay, understood this now till now? Okay, please just say yes if you understood this basic concept. Okay, ठीक है. Now, like C++ has their own compilers, Java has their own compilers, JS has their own compilers, Python has their own compilers. ठीक है? So these programming languages has their own compilers, right? Okay. So like C++ has their own compiler known as the G++, ठीक है? Or GCC, what you can say it. Java has their own compiler known as the JVC, ठीक है? Let me Java compile like it is something like Javek. Yeah, this is the compiler. Okay. Python has their own compiler. And what do JS like? What compiler do JS has? JS has the Node compiler. Now you understood why we actually installed Node in our laptops, because Node is used as a compiler for this particular JavaScript language. ठीक है. Now the concept is clear why we install that particular node, because we are going to run our JS applications, and that node compiler will compile our JS code, ठीक है, into zeros and one. Okay, ठीक है. This is the basic concept how applications actually run. ठीक है. Interpreted with versus compiled languages, this is a difference we are going to look. Compiled languages, C++ is a compiled language. Java is a compiled language. JavaScript is an interpreted language. Python is also an interpreted language. Okay? Now, why they are called interpreted or compiled? Okay? Let's understand this. So, this particular code is the syntax of the C++. I took C++ because I do coding in C++, like DSA in C++. Just you can assume here any Java or any Python code. Okay? But like C++ is a compiled language. You can, if you like, you can. This is just to understand this is the syntax of C++. Okay? So what is actually happening here? That we use the compiler G++. It will compile this particular code into zeros and ones. Okay? Now, if you have seen like if you have seen in your applications, every particular application in your laptop has some .exe extension, which stands for executable file. So every application that is being written in any of these programming languages, these compiler will convert those application into .exe. Okay? So as soon as I will compile this particular application, this particular like code will convert it to hello.exe. Okay? And now I can just run this particular file, which is in zeros and one. Like you can't open this particular file, but you can run this file. Okay? Now, why C++ is called as compiled? Because here, what actually happening is this compiler will compile your whole code at once. Okay? It will go on first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, sixth line. It will compile, which means it will convert this particular code into zeros and ones at a single like in a single go. Okay? Now, what is the interpreted language? So JavaScript, this is the syntax of JavaScript which we will going to learn. We use Node for compiling our JavaScript application. But what actually happening here is that unlike the C++ compiler or the Java compiler who compile our code in a one go, this particular node compiler will compile our code line by line. So for example, if there is error in this particular 10th in this particular ninth line, ठीक है, this compiler will not run this code, will not compile this code, ठीक है, it will show errors. But in case of this particular JavaScript application, like right now this is has only one line, but imagine if this is having a 10 line, ठीक है, and there is a bug on the 8th line. So what it will do, it will compile our code till the 7th line, and it will show error in the 8th line, ठीक है. What was happening here is that it will not run, it will not compile this code. It will say कि first you resolve the error, but what it will say, but what in JavaScript node will say that भैया कि till now till 8th line I have not found any bug. I will compile this particular these lines, but I have found bug in ninth line, so I will show you error, ठीक है. So what actually happening here is like this is not the node is doing this thing line by line. That is why JavaScript and Python are known as the interpreted language instead of compiled language, because they compile at the runtime, which means in a first line it will compile it, second line it will compile it, third line it will compile it and none, fourth line it will compile it and none. Not in C++, like the whole like it will compile this whole first and then it will run. Okay, understood the difference between interpreted and the compiled? Okay. Now, why JS and how JS? Let's understand this. ठीक है. JavaScript is the only language that runs in our browsers. Browsers, whatever browsers we have on internet, can only run JavaScript. No any other language can be run in these browser. ठीक है. Now, if you go to Google and if you find कि भाई what programming language can browsers run, they will tell you all these programming language, C++, Java, Python, ठीक है. But if you go deep dive, what actually happening here is the application that you are building in Java, C++ for the browsers to run, they will convert that particular application into JS only, and then browsers will run your JS file. So eventually, at the end of the day, the browsers can only run a JS file. Okay? Why is that? Maybe that's another story. I really don't know why is that. Why particular JavaScript is chosen for the browsers to run. But like this is the concept. Okay? JavaScript is made to run in the browsers. Okay? So these particular browsers, how they run JavaScript. Now the question is how they run JavaScript. Okay? JavaScript, these particular browsers have their own JS engine in them. What is JS engine? If you have attended the first lecture, I had shown you the browsers, how browsers. I gave you just a glimpse of how browsers work. There was written in the JS like something known as the JS engine. Okay. So at that time I told you, okay, I will told you later. So now here's the time. Okay. So these particular browsers contain JS engine in them. ठीक है. Why? Because browser can only understand JS. ठीक है. So each and every browsers have their JS engine, which is known as the JavaScript engine. Chrome has the JS engine known as the V8. Mozilla Firefox have their own JS engine known as the Spider Monkey. They have built their own JS engine. ठीक है. The Microsoft Bing uses their own JS engine known as the Chakra. What they are used for? ठीक है. So these are the compilers in that particular browsers. As we have compilers in our laptops, the G++ for our laptops, the Javik, which is used to compile a particular code in our laptops. In the similar way, these browsers have their own JS engines that the one of the major thing is doing what they are doing. They are compiling our code. They are rendering our whatever the thing which we have written in JavaScript. Okay? So the big concept is they are the compilers of our particular JavaScript file in our browsers. ठीक है. Now भैया अभी आप you have told me कि भैया JavaScript पे नोड यूज होती है. Now what is this JS engine? Okay, what is this V8? What is this Spider Monkey? You have just told कि we use Node actually for that. Okay, I will tell you later why is there. Okay, but for now, just understand this. Now this JavaScript engine has like many other features in that. Okay, they are not just to provide us the compiler code. They have provide uh, like they have another functionalities as well, which we will talk when we learn uh, about the syntax of JavaScript. Okay, there we will learn how browsers, what are the functionalities of browser. But just to understand that these particular JavaScript browsers have their own JS engine, which actually renders our pages. Okay, so V8 V is for Chrome, Spider Monkey. Okay, a very good interview question if you are like giving an interview for JavaScript developer or any like in this particular field. Okay, this is the browser, like this is the Brave browser, which actually uses the Google V8. Okay, so they are using the same V8 engine. Okay, understood. Any confusion in this particular slide? Okay, okay. Now what is node and why node? So we actually understood कि भाई यार a node is will compile our code. Now what is this? Why they are not using node in their browsers? Why they have their own JS engines? Okay. Now JS engine, they have browsers in them. Okay. So node, let me tell you this. These browsers were built very very long ago. Actually node came. Okay, actually very very before the node came. Okay, these browsers were made. Okay, and they have this JavaScript engine that actually find out ki, how to compile this code. Node came very later. Node came very later ki this how we are going to convert this code into zeros and ones. Okay, now why is node? I will tell you why. So in our browsers, we have JavaScript engine, which will compile our code. We understood till now this thing. But what about our local machine? ठीक है, this is the question कि भाई for browsers we have engines for that particular browsers. They have made their own JS engine. ठीक है, you can also create your own JS engine. ठीक है, which is a very good, very like only some brilliant people can do that, but we can do that. ठीक है, but they have the JS engine. ठीक है, which will compile our code. What about our local machine? We have to first test our applications na, ki how they are actually looking. We have to first like test our JavaScript code ki bhaiya what is the output coming into our like we can't do that. We can't just do that and directly like browsers have their engine to do that. But what about a local machine? Okay, that is why node was created, just like javac, just like G++, just like the Python, which is like Python. I don't know actually what Python compiler uses. Python actually uses the Python virtual machine, something like that, but I don't know. So all these have their compiler, okay, which you can install in your local machines and can run your code. In this similar way, Node is that particular thing that we are going to install in our laptop so that a particular JavaScript file can run. Why? Because it is very, very, very difficult for us to create a JS engine which browsers are actually using. Okay, so what actually happens? So some really really smart people take out this JS engine from the V8, combine it with C++. How they actually do that I really don't know, but this is the this is the flow they have I shown on internet. But take out this JS engine. Take out means like they copied it, like they copied it. Okay, JS engine V8. They combined it with C++, and they created something known as the Node plus Node.js. This is why, like, if you this is the one interview question. Node.js actually uses what in like how it is actually created. So you will say कि भाई it is created using the C++. ठीक है? So took out this JS engine, combined it with C++, and created something known as Node.js. Now, what we can do is we can install this Node.js in our laptops and can run our particular JavaScript applications. This is a simple concept why we need the Node.js. This is a simple concept why every time when we are building an application, whether it's a mobile application, like if you're building in Java with the help of using JavaScript. Whether we are learning React.js, any particular JavaScript library we are working, any particular mobile application we are building, game application we are building with the help of JavaScript, the first thing we have to do is we have to install the Node.js, okay, for our laptops. Okay, clear till now? Clear? Okay, this is the tiling. This is I'm telling you because of the JavaScript, like um, why JavaScript. Okay, static type and dynamic type languages. What is the difference between static type and dynamic type? So static type means that C++, Java, these all known as the static typing. Dynamic typing means JavaScript, Python, these are known as the dynamic typing. Okay. So just to just to tell you, okay, what is the difference between, because like this question are really asked in a fresher interview. If you're giving a interview for 0 to 1 experience, these questions, what is the difference between static type and dynamic type, what is the difference between interpreted and compiled languages. So these are the questions that you should know. Okay. So static type means कि we are declaring variables, like variables have a type. Okay. We have a int for number, we have a char for a character, we have a string for a character in JavaScript, sorry, in Java and C++. Okay. Variable have type, values have type. कि whatever the value we are writing here, it has a type, particular type, for a string or the for a number. Well, variables cannot change their type. If they are initialized once, they cannot change their type. This is not actually happened in the dynamic typing. Why? uh, because because they are, why, because they are actually interpreted languages, they are running line by line. Okay. So like we don't have any types for our variables, we don't have any int for number, we don't have any char for a character, but we don't have any float or boolean type. Okay. For our characters. Okay. For our these values. Okay. So variables have no types, values have type. Now what is the meaning here? Values have type. So when actually in this example we created a name, okay, and we assigned it with John, and in the next line we are assigning it with 34, which is the actually correct. This is it is not saying that it is right, because in static typing it will not allow you to convert this particular string to a number. Okay. But in JavaScript or Python we can do that. Okay. Because variables have no type, but the values have type. So as soon as you will create a name, and as soon as you will write a string in the particular variable, this particular value will be mapped to a string, but as soon as you will convert this to a number, this particular value is mapped to a number. Okay. So just in a simple manner, in a simple language, the values have type. Variable change type dramatically, which is mean कि भाई you can just change the type of these values from number to a string. Okay. That is why, to improve this particular nature, to make a JavaScript strict means कि to have types for the values, we have something known as the TypeScript, which is created by the Microsoft. So we will look into that later. Okay. Okay. Understood? Previous slide. ठीक है. What is the single threaded nature? Okay, let's understand this. JavaScript is a single threaded uh, language. Like it works in a single thread. Why is it? We will look. But till now, what we have understood that JavaScript is an interpreted language. JavaScript is a dynamic type language. Okay. Now, in JavaScript is a single thread language. How and why? Let's understand this. Our computer, we knew till now कि our computer has two things, RAM and the SSD and the HDD. ठीक है. All this comes in a CPU. ठीक है. Now our our particular computers have cores in them. ठीक है. These cores are responsible to run multiple applications in your laptop at a particular instance of time. ठीक है. So that is why when buying these laptop, like my laptops have 4 cores. Okay, because I have i5. Yeah, I have i5. Okay, Intel Core 5. maybe Mac, if you're using, they also have something like 6, 7, 10. Like the new Mac one, I think it has some 10 cores. Like the 10 cores is very very, like they are very fast. Why? Because they are very fast. Why? Because now 4 cores means कि भाई now you can run four different applications on this particular laptop. ठीक है? One core will be responsible for only running a single application. ठीक है? Not like कि भाई you are using a VS Code application in this core, and at the same time you are playing a game. So like a single core can't do that. That particular game you will be playing, it will be assigned to this particular core. This second core will be responsible to like run that particular application. ठीक है? So these code, that is why when buying a laptop, we majorly consider two things कि भाई RAM ज़्यादा होनी चाहिए. Why? Because we understood कि भाई applications runs in this particular thing only. It does not matter how much storage you have. You can buy a 1 TB laptop. You can buy like buy a any particular storage 256 GB laptop. ठीक है? But what you should consider buying while buy when you are buying a laptop, two things. First is the RAM. Greater the RAM, greater the applications you can run in that. ठीक है? More fast. And the cores, कि how much core in your, like you want in your laptops. So I have a 8 GB RAM, i5 11th gen. In the same way, there are laptops which have 16 GB RAM, i7, which means they will have a 6 cores. Now let's come back to the topic, which is like the cores. So each core is responsible for running a particular application. ठीक है? So a single JavaScript application can run into this particular core. ठीक है? Now, what when you run multiple application? Imagine my laptop has a 4 cores. ठीक है? Four cores. ठीक है? Uh, if Let me show you, how can I show you this. If you are using a Windows laptop, you can just go to your task manager, and where's performance. Yeah, this is where like you can show. This is, you can see if you are using a Windows laptop. I don't know about Mac, but like as you can see here, you can see like the 4 cores are running. Okay, and these are all the this is the amount of application that are using your disk HDD right now. So I have both. I have HDD 1 TB, and I have 256 SSD. Okay, CPU is the all these things. CPU is the combine these things. Your disk one. Okay, GPU, like the RAM, the cores. CPU is responsible for that. Okay, so like this is just okay, just to show you practical in like how things work, how things like how can you see in your laptops. So I have 4 cores. Okay, so the yeah, okay, so I have 4 cores. So a single core can run a single particular JavaScript application. Okay, a single application. Now why JavaScript is called single threaded? In the same way as cores are responsible to run a single application at one time, JavaScript also is also responsible to run a single particular code at a single particular time. Okay, so this is just JavaScript code. Here you can't do something like bhai ki I will write another code, and then I want my Node.js compiler to run these both code at the same time. This is not this is not done in the JavaScript. That is why JavaScript is known as the synchronous language. But we can make this asynchronous. We can run a particular applications, or we can like not run things. So what actually happens is that your JavaScript application will run line by line. First this line, first this line, second then this line, then this line. But what we can do is we can run this line first, and then we can come back to this line then, and we can go back to this line. So this is like a asynchronous nature of that JavaScript. Okay, so how by default JavaScript runs line by line, but we are going to learn some properties, learn some methods that will make our synchronous JavaScript language into asynchronous. Those all topics like the callbacks, promises, async event, we will going to learn maybe in tomorrow, maybe day after tomorrow. But those concepts come in the medium to advanced JavaScript. Okay, but understood till now कि JavaScript is known as a single threaded language, which means it will run line by line. Okay, understood this? Okay, okay, okay. What is ECMAScript? ECMAScript. This is another very important thing to know. ECMAScript is not a programming language. ECMAScript is a scripting language for a JavaScript. Now, bhaiya, what is this scripting language? ECMAScript defines some rules, defines some parameters that a JavaScript language should follow. ठीक है, you can see this diagram. All these JS engines which are being made under this particular ECMAScript. uh, ECMAScript, like, how can I say this? ECMAScript, like, the like, this is like a booklet. Okay, just imagine this is like a booklet that consists of some parameters, this consists of some regulations that everyone should follow while creating a JavaScript engine. So like all these browsers can implement these particular rules, and they can create your own JavaScript engine. That is why I was saying that you can create your own JavaScript engine. Okay, but ECMAScript is for that. So ECMAScript is the scripting language for a JavaScript. Okay, so like we knew that every application has some versions, every programming language has some versions, like the Python 3, the Java has some new versions. Okay, in the same way, ECMAScript releases new like the methods, like the implementations to do in your JavaScript or to do in your JS engines. Okay, so this is like a JavaScript uh, scripting language that will help us to create, that will define some rules and regulation for that particular programming language. Okay, so right now we use ECMAScript 6. After 2015, what we are using ECMAScript 6, which is also known as the ES6. So like if you have learned JavaScript before, they tell you कि भाई you should use ES6. Why? Because that ECMAScript has some new parameters for that. Okay, okay. So this is the basic introduction of what is JavaScript, why JavaScript we are using, how it actually works. So understand till now all the basic concepts. Okay, what about Naveen? Okay, okay. So yeah, now we are done here. We are like, now let's go to into running, like writing JavaScript code. Okay, so this is all the concepts, which is theory, कि how actually thing works. These browsers have JavaScript engines, but now we are going into the syntax, how to write JavaScript, how to compile a code, how Node.js works, and how all these things. Okay, now I have done this instead of showing you syntax side by side just to make create PPT. I have like changed the format of this particular thing. I have made questions, and now by solving these questions, we are going to understand कि भाई how to write a JavaScript applications. ठीक है, how to write a JavaScript code. ठीक है, so this will like help you to learn all these things. So today will be a basic, any like, if you have done any programming language before, then you should know ki how loops work, how while loops, why if else works, or how the all these things work. Okay, but like for the sake of just we are starting these, learning a new language, we have to learn the JavaScript, like I am teaching you. Okay, but this is very very simple. So just let me create a new file. Just wait for a second, and let me create a new file here so that I can, yeah. ठीक है, ओके, ठीक है. Okay, let's start our JavaScript cd. ठीक है. Okay, so this is how we create a JavaScript file by using the .js extension. What is the first question? Show in terminal I am JavaScript. ठीक है. Let's write. So, like, as we have C out in C++, as we have system dot out in for like Java, print for Python, in the same way we have something called as console dot log for the JavaScript. Okay, so I am JavaScript. Okay, very basic. Now, what? How you can run this? Go to your particular folder and just write node index.js. Okay, this is a compiler we are using. This is the node, and index.js, which means we are compiling this particular file. Okay, as simple as that. Okay, what node version I am using currently right now? Node version. How can I check that? Yeah, 18. I'm using the 18 node version. Okay, but you can change this by using the nvm. Okay, the first question is done. We will use this console.log. Okay, we are using this console.log and that any particular thing to show in the output. Okay, second thing is we are working with the variables. Is this okay na ki, like is this okay if I like we will, the format is okay, right? Solving these questions and that will. Okay, because these are the basic things. Okay, like you will understand all these. Just to understand the syntax, I am showing you all these. Okay, working with the variables. So declare two variables, admin and name. Assign the value of John to name. Copy the value of name to admin and show the value of admin using alert. Just forget about this alert. We are going to use console for that. Okay. So what is saying? Declare two variables. So how we can declare two variables here? The first method that we can declare two variables is, let me add a comment here. Answer number. ठीक है. ठीक है. So how we can do that? We in what ways we can create a variable? We can create using var. Var is something which will help us to create a variable. Okay, what is another method? Let is the very is how we can create a variable in JavaScript. Then we can just give it right any name. Okay, what is the another way? A const, which means a constant, like how we can create a name. Okay, a very any variable. These are the three ways. But what I was telling you na ki, what I was telling you ki bhai we have something, we are now working in the ECMAScript 6. Matlab we are using the ES6. So ES6 has new things. So where was before the 2015? Okay, where was something before the, like it is before the 2015. But after when ECMAScript 6 came, that it bring new variables known as the let and the constant. So now we can use these variables because uh, where has their own cons, because it can be like it can work, it can be changed anytime. It can be used as a global scope for any function, for any block scope. Just understand this ki bhai where is not good. But a very good interview, a very important interview question is the why we are using var, what is the difference, sorry, why we are using let and constant, what is the difference between let and constant. Just go and do like search it on like Google. You will like, it will show you difference between var. ठीक है, let me show you also. ठीक है, hosting we will do global scope. ठीक है, block scope. Like this can be, we can create this in a global scope and then we can change it, but we can't do that for let. And constant to भाई constant होता ही है, we can change constant. We can redeclare it in the same scope. We can't redeclare in the same scope. We can't reinitialize this because the const cannot so like the uh, we should always use the let or the constant. Just know this. ठीक है, so we are using the let because we will use the net, And what is the question? Two variables, admin and name. ठीक है. Admin. So we have declared two variables. Assign the value of John to name. So John. And now it is showing you cross because the name is something which is, let's change this to username. ठीक है. Why it is showing cross? Because it is says the name is deprecated, which means कि भाई name is used as a keyword in JavaScript. ठीक है. So for that we are going to use username. ठीक है. Name is like a reserved keyword. ठीक है. So we are going to use username. So we have defined the username. Copy the value of name to admin. ठीक है भाई. Copy the admin, and then we will write username. ठीक है. And then show the value. So we are going to console.log, and what we will like admin. Let's run this. लिख लेता हूं मैं. ठीक है. So as you can see, John is coming right now. So this is how you can like change the value. Like as you can see ना कि भाई we like copied it from one variable to another. So this is how you can create a like let. What if I do const here? So as you can see, now it is showing you error. Why? Because it says कि भाई con declaration must be initialized. कि भाई while initializing a particular value, you have to initialize at that particular same time. ठीक है. This is the error it is saying. ठीक है. So we are going to use letter only for that. As simple as that. Okay, so just to remember, when you want to use a constant value, कि भाई when you know कि भाई this is value is not going to change in future or in that particular scope, just use cont and let. If you know कि भाई this particular change I am going to manipulate this particular variable, then use let. ठीक है. As simple as that. What is the difference between null and define? ठीक है. Let's understand this. Any doubts till now? Okay. What is the difference between null and undefined? Okay. ठीक है. Why I'm using name? Let's use something another variable. Let me comment out all this. Okay, as you can see now, it is saying the undefined. Why? Because, and let me show you another thing also. If not, it is showing me undefined. If I do something like null, and now if I do node index.js, now it is showing you null. Why? Because we know कि भाई this particular variable now having a value that is null. ठीक है. That is null. Now this particular value is mapping to a null variable. ठीक है. To a null variable. So we know कि भाई we have null right now. But what is the undefined? Undefined means the value variable we have created, it is not mapped to any particular value. It is not mapped to a number. It is not mapped to a null, or it is not mapped to a like a string. So that is why it is showing you undefined here. Why? Because it is not mapped to a particular thing. We have to map it to a string. We have to do something like username is equals to John. Okay? Or we have to write something is equals to null, so that we can map it to a particular empty. Null means the empty value. This particular a is mapped to a empty value. But if I don't assign null, so what it is saying कि भाई a is undefined. This particular has nothing to map. ठीक है. As simple as that. Another good question in interviews. What difference between null and defined? Create a calculator that have plus minus operations. Take any input. Uh, we are going to look create a calculator like how to create this, but we are going to see these operations. As simple as that. Okay. I know this is very basic, but like I have to do this just to let you show syntax of this particular JavaScript. Okay. So how to do that? Uh, we have to declare two variables a and b. Okay. and then give a variable any value 10, b 20, and now let's do console.log. So to sum, we will use yet a plus b. ठीक है. To minus, let me sum. ठीक है. Minus is simple minus. Why it is not saved? Okay. Minus 10. Okay. Multiply simple this and divide is simple this. ठीक है. And this is for the remainder if the remainder is coming. ठीक है. As simple as that. But this is a simple operations. But we know कि भैया we don't have any types in JavaScript. We knew ना कि we don't have any types. We don't have any int for a number or a like. We can change this to particular. We can write this. ठीक है. We can write this. Now this particular a is having a 10, which will work as a string. Okay, so now this is the string. How you can confirm that? You can confirm that by using the something known as console.log type of, and then what you can write is a. Okay, this is something you can do. So if I do note dot, so it will say a string here. Okay, type of is used for if you know the value of the type of that particular variable. So we don't have any types. We don't have any particular types to show our variables, but actually they are working as a string number. Okay, so we can just check that. So it is a string now. That particular is a string now. Now bhaiya, how can we add a string to a number? We can actually add in JavaScript. We can't do this in particular C++ or Java, but we can do this in JavaScript and Python. Why? Because they are the dynamically typed languages. Okay, so if I do node index.js, what you will see here, you will see 10 20. What it do is कि भाई 10 is a string now plus 20, it is adding these both. ठीक है. So this is how JavaScript works. That is why TypeScript came to remove all these error कि भाई if someone did some mistakes, if someone change this particular number to a string, and when we run our code, it will show the output, but it will show the wrong output. That is why TypeScript came into the picture. Okay, so find the output of these things. So let me show you the output of first thing. Make to 10 only, so you can later have the answers of all these questions. Answer 5. Okay, let s is equal to my okay. Now if I do console log s, so you can see my name. Okay, let's see the another thing. Like we have seen what will happen when we add a string to a number. Okay, so like it will show 1 2. It will show 1 2. Okay, but what happens if we subtract that particular thing? Okay, so let's see what happens if we subtract this particular number. So let's define, let's do directly console log. Okay, console.log, and what we have the 6 as a number minus 2 as a string. Now like you will be confused कि भाई यार what is happening right now. I don't know. But now it worked. Now it is working as a calculator. Now it gave me 4. Before it was not adding. It was not adding. Why now coming? Why 4 is coming? This is like JavaScript. This is like how JavaScript is working. Like I really don't know what is the happening actually. What is the uh, like the process of this logical, like what is the actual code behind this. But since something, this is like the ASCII value it uses, something ASCII value it, like when we are doing addition, that what actually it assuming is that ki bhai, we are first adding a string, so what it will think कि भाई the second is also string, so I will make it a string as ठीक है. But now if we are subtracting it, when we use this subtract minus, so it will think कि भाई we are subtracting a number from a like a number only, then I will work as a number here. ठीक है. So this is all the JavaScript. Like if you go in internet and if you will find these answers, na, ki why it is actually happening, so they will tell you the logical reasoning, maybe something related to ASCII or maybe something related to anything else. But like this is the confusion, like what JavaScript creates in in the developer's mind. So like this things actually work, okay. And now if you like divide this, I don't know what will happen with divide. Let's see what will happen with divide. It divided also. So now it is dividing the two strings as well. That is why the we are learning JavaScript, but that is why like I write code in TypeScript only. I don't write code in like JavaScript. So what actually happens is ki by to just to solve all these particular bugs. This is not a bug in JavaScript, but if you will like the same syntax in TypeScript, it will give you bugs. Okay, because it will add types to a particular languages. Okay, so this is the nature of the JavaScript. Okay, let's move on to the next. Any doubts still here? Yeah. Okay. Okay. ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है. So we have 7:05. We will do till 7:10. Okay. Just wait. Hello. हाँ मैं एक मिनट अभी कॉल करता हूँ, 5 मिनट बाद कॉल करता हूँ, ठीक है. हाँ. ओके. ठीक है. Now using L loop switch functions, very very simple. Let's say it's completed today. Answer 4, answer 6. ठीक है. Using if else, write the code if which gets a number 1 if the value is greater than 0, -1 less than 0, 0 or 0. Okay, so as simple as that, just write if. Just a simple code, how we used to write um, in like any other language. So like if else is same. I think if else is same in C++, in Java, Python, any languages. So if the what was the question? Write the code which creates a number 1 if the value is greater than. So let's take any number which says key 5. Okay, and now if it number is greater than 1, so what we will like console.log, what it should give 1. Okay, if the number, if the value is greater than 0, okay, so we have to write here 0. Okay, else if number is less than 0, then what we have to write console.log um, -1. Yeah, and then what else? Console.log and the zeros, like if it is 0, then it will give 0. Okay, let's check this. Okay, now it is giving 1 because the value is 5. Let me change this to -6. Oh, yeah, let me change this to -4 something else, -1. And if it is saying 0, then it will say 0. Okay, solve the same problem using conditional operators. This is interesting. So there is one method we are going to use if else. Okay, what about, there is something known as the um, conditional methods. They are same as the if else. The logic is the same, but just to write this particular code in a single, like in a very clean way, we use something called as the um, conditional operator. So what how this works is something like this. If the number is greater than 0, we get a question mark. Okay, and then what we will write, console.log, what we will write, 1. Okay, then if it is not, then console.log, what we will write, -1. Okay, so this is the conditional rendering, which says ki bhai, if this particular condition is true, question mark, if true, then show this, and if it is false, then show this. Okay, let me change this to 5. So it is given. Okay, this is symbol, conditional rendering like way of like conditional operators, this question mark and the semicolon. What is like if we want to add more conditions to like how can we do that? Like there are three conditions right now and we are using the two conditions, so how can we do that? Using this, and again here we can write a what we can write a like in this particular bracket, if the number is less than 0, then what? Question mark, show me console dot minus 1, and else console dot log 0. Okay, so like how this is how, but like if you if you are getting confused in this, just remember the simple if else, it will work the same. Okay. 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 Using for loop, print numbers, as simple as that. So for loop remains the same in all these languages. For there in C++ we used to write int, in Java like all these things, but in JavaScript, as we know, we don't have any types. So what we will write, we'll just create a variable here. So if I0 is equals to 0, I is less than let's say 10, and I plus plus console.log I. ठीक है. ठीक है, let's run this. ठीक है, 0 to 1. Okay, as simple as that. This is how we use loop, print 1 to 10, output even numbers in the loop. ठीक है. Answer 9. How we are going to um, show the even numbers? If now here we will add the if condition. If the I is like the remainder of that is 0, this is very simple, right? If you have done coding, if you have like done the simple DSA also, we can just, you can do that. Okay, let me again. Okay, because okay, so now here all the even numbers are coming. Okay, as simple as that. Create the calculating using switch. Now, okay, switch, like this is how, yeah, you will write na switch key, switch. The concept remains the same. Here the number will come, and then like here you will write the cases. ठीक है, here will write the case 1, case 2, case 3. सिमिलर स्विच बिल्कुल ऐसी जैसे हम किसी और कोडिंग में किसी और कोडिंग लैंग्वेज में लिखते हैं, बिल्कुल सेम उसी मैनर में. ठीक है, बिल्कुल सेम उसी मैनर में. ठीक है. सो आई थिंक इट्स 7:12. Clear, Divanshi? Any doubts till now using if else loops? Loops अभी loops तो कर लिया हमने, and the basic syntax variables data types operators. ठीक है. Any doubts still here? For printing a value, we use console.log, but taking inputs from a user, what is used in JS? Okay, very good question. What actually happens is we use prompt. ठीक है, something as known as the prompt. ठीक है, in when we are taking an input. So like if we will do, if I show you taking in input from the user. ठीक है. Now it will say an error कि भाई prompt is not defined. ठीक है. Now this particular prompt is not defined in the Node.js because this is how we will take the input. But as you know, in JavaScript we are going to take input from the front end. ठीक है. So we will create a form and then we will map that particular value to the syntax we are going to look forward. But like in terminal, when we how we can create this, how we can use that, prompt is something we can take input, but this particular prompt only works in browsers. You know why? Because I have told you that uh, there are some functionalities that browsers provide. So prompt is there, the prompt is correct, this particular thing is correct. Okay, this particular thing is correct, we are going to take input, and this particular we are going to take input, but this particular syntax is only used in the browsers is not defined in the Node.js. Maybe they have created something else, like, I don't know really. But like if we, how to take input in JS from the Node.js terminal. Let me think. Let me see. Is there a way or uh, using user getting a user input to Node.js. Let me see if anything works here. They are using a something. So as you can prompt sync. Prompt sync provides an easy way to. Okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है. We don't have anything. ठीक है. In Node.js, we don't have anything to take input from. Why? Prompt is a functionality that browsers only provide. It is not built in Node.js. ठीक है. Why is that? I don't really know, but what this particular blog is suggesting कि भाई there are some libraries that will help you take input. So what will you do? You will install these libraries. This is known as the prompt sync, and just go here. Should we run this? I don't know. Let me see. Install. It will say ठीक है, ठीक है. Okay. Let me also or copy this. What is your name? Okay, sorry. No index JS. Let me remove this. Good question actually, because I never take input in JavaScript from the terminal, because we generally don't do that. What is your name? Okay, it is working. ठीक है, yeah. So as you can see ना कि भाई right now we have installed a library to do that. ठीक है. We have installed a library, particular library, because this is not built in the Node.js. Node.js. This particular prompt, the thing I have wrote before, okay, that is a browser functionality that browser only provides. That is not present in a Node.js. But I have shown you right now, कि भाई we can use some external libraries to take input. There is no default. You can see in this browser, in this blog, there is no default thing to take input in these particular in this particular टर्मिनल. ठीक है. अंडरस्टूड. ओके, ओके, गुड. ठीक है. ओके. एनी अदर डाउट्स? अगर अगर कभी ऐसा होता हो ना कि जैसे तुमने इतना बड़ा लिखा है, तो यू जस्ट ओपन योर माइक एंड यू कैन जस्ट इंटरप्ट मी एंड देन आस्क क्वेश्चन. तो देर इज नो प्रॉब्लम इन दैट. ठीक है. ओके. So let's end today's session, and we will tomorrow continue with the functions. Okay, simple concepts, and then we are going to look Chrome Dev Tools, uh, how browsers actually renders JavaScript, what the functionalities they have, so all these things, objects, methods, string, array methods, very very basic. And then after that, we are going to look how JavaScript will help us to create applications. Okay, okay. So meet tomorrow. Goodbye. Have a nice day.